Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Are you ready for My Choice Tuesday? Because we're going to be celebrating piracy and sea shanties in the form of Hoist the Colors as performed by VoicePlay featuring Jose Rosario Jr. We last saw him singing with VoicePlay in My Mother Told Me. It was fantastic. His voice just really goes together with VoicePlay. I think it's a great combo. And I'm excited to see what they do with this song. This was featured in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. It was this extremely touching moment in the movie when a lot of the pirates are essentially facing their death, and this little boy starts to sing the song, and then their voices join in. It's essentially like a national anthem for pirates and a call to arms. It's really incredible. So to celebrate with us in this Halloween week, which is so appropriate, I've also brought Crackino, our lovely channel mascot. He seems very prepared for this pirate celebration. And of course, Lilith has invited her parrot familiar. I am just really excited to finally get to hear this. I've been holding off listening to it for over a month. So let's check it out together.
The king and his men stole the queen from her bed and bound her in her bones. The seas be ours, and by the powers where we will roam.
Okay, I know that they're going to drop into something really cool here because it's VoicePlay, but let's talk about how cool this intro is first. So that part that is the little boy's solo, essentially, it looks like they've split this into their three higher voices, starting with Jose Rosario Jr., right? And his voice has a lot of purity and clarity to it. I feel like it had a nice echoing of that young boy's voice in the movie. And then we switched and we heard Caesar take it over, which is really cool. Caesar is the most recent addition to becoming a full VoicePlay member. I love his energy. He's just so full of joy, and he seems like such a great member of their team. So anyhow, I like the tone he had. It sounded like he might have been in falsetto for it. It had like a lot more airiness to it, like an etherealness to it. And it was a really interesting shift to go from one to the other, and then from Caesar to Ellie, who brought this drive in his voice. I really like the way he even added a little bit of grit. I think that Ellie could front a rock band sometimes with the way he's able to bring some of that grit and drive into his voice. It's pretty awesome. Let's go back. Surprise! Back to the beginning.
The king and his men stole the queen from her bed.
Nice eyebrow.
And bound her
Wow.
in her bones.
Wow. His tone is so haunting, first of all, but the makeup and the way he has foggy, maybe a contact on. I'm guessing they've got him in a contact lens here, because doing this kind of eye effect in post is very time consuming. Wow, that's such an extraordinary visual though. Wow, crazy. Okay, I'll go back one more time.
The king and his men stole the queen from her bed and bound her in her bones.
Like the hums. Oh, that's cool.
The seas be ours, and by the powers where we will roam.
I love the addition of harmony under Ellie's voice as well. And then this line with him and Caesar is really cool, partly because Caesar's essentially doing a cry, like a little break in his voice as they harmonize at one point, and it's just heart-wrenching. when you have that with this pain, and I mean, Ellie just has really incredible line too. I love the line that he sings with. It's great. One more time on that.
The powers where we'll roam.
Wow, the snarl.
Hands, hoist the colors high. Heave-ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we.
There's a lot of really cool things that are happening in here. The overall feeling I'm getting is I love how they're creating this ambiance. It's partly in the choice of reverb and the choice to leave more space between their notes right now. It creates this feeling of like dredging through the doldrums or something there. It has a heaviness to it. I think I feel like it's very effective in creating that dreadful feeling that the characters in the movie were facing. And at the same time, I'm really liking all of the different characters that each member is bringing. You can tell that they have their own pirate that they've, like a pirate backstory, essentially, that they've nurtured. There's also a lot of other really fun details. I like with Jeff's part on the lower end, he's doing a slide down to the low note, but not on the way up usually, which is really cool to hear. Like, oh, I'm going to do this very deliberate slide just in one of those areas. I think that they've doubled his voice as well. So he might have done 2 takes, at least, maybe more, on that exact line too, which makes it have a thicker sound overall in the mix. And then another thing that's really interesting to me is the way they're using H's. I noticed this earlier in the intro too. A lot of times when you see like HMM or HMMM, people will mostly go to the M. They don't really think about the H as well. But every time I've heard them do a here, they give extra accent to that H. So instead of that's interesting, where it feels like more inner, they are actually creating extra constriction to make more sound on the H, which it just gives it more texture in the sound overall, really brings it and makes it feel a little more aggressive. So I'm going to go back here. Oh, good timing.
Hands, hoist the colors high.
Ooh.
Heave-ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we.
I just really like that low note. Another interesting thing in here is how I think that Lane produced the voice or the percussion on this, not entirely sure, but it's interesting how sometimes it sounds almost like steps are being taken or it might be pats on the body, and some of them sound like they're stepping lower, and then every now and then you'll get one that just reverberates a lot higher, like it's a lot brighter all of a sudden. It's really, really cool extra details in the percussion. I don't know why that makes me chortle, but every time I hear Jeff just drop to a low note like that, it's so impressive and fun. It's fun. That's what it is. It's fun. What note is that? You know what? It's so funny. I feel like I've been spoiled by listening to Jeff and how low he can regularly go. That, for those of you who are really particular about notes, is going to be an F1. It's really low. It's really, 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 really low. And only because it's Jeff Castellucci do I sit here and go, oh yeah, that's a low note, and not just like feel like so like what in the world just happened. I've come to expect fantastic low notes from him. It's really awesome.
Thieves and beggars, never shall we.
I love the rumble.
Now some men have died and some are alive, and others sail on the sea with keys to the cage and the devil to pay. We lay to fiddler's green.
Hell has been raised.
Oh, okay. The entrance there of like more mouth percussion was just like super, super cool. But I like the way that these three top voices are working together. It's so fun to hear Caesar's voice next to Ellie's because they're so different. They're singing often in about the same range, but they're just so different in timbre. And I love the way that they have really different characters in here as well. And Jose's character as well has that like almost like something that's in between their two sounds. It's so cool, and it was really cool to hear like an octave, parallel octaves on woes underneath that at one point. I feel that this has been really well written for three different high voices to be featured.
And the devil to pay. We lay to fiddler's green.
Hell has been raised.
Oh, I wonder how he makes that sound.
We lay to fiddler's green.
Hell has been.
I just like need to figure out how to make that sound now. That Lane is making. Oh goodness, I'm gonna spit on a lot of things. I'll do that off camera and work on it a bunch. Okay. I love the creativity in Lane's beatboxing. It is so much fun. It's so playful with sounds. And of course, you have like your normal like your kicks, your snares, right? There's you have a lot of normal sounds in there. But he just is constantly making sounds that are like really organic and exciting and playing with like essentially different frequencies that aren't sung frequencies, but like different ones that you would see light up in different areas of EQ. And it's always, it's always got a crispness to it, an ingenuity. I love it. I love it.
The bell has been raised from its watery grave.
Can't you hear it? Sepulchral tone.
Whoa, the harmony shift there. Huh.
Watery grave.
Can't you hear it? Sepulchral tone.
Whoa. Okay. So in the middle of this, like it's all been staying in like a very minor key. And then when you get to Can't You Hear It, they add an accidental in there, meaning like a note that's not normally in this key to suddenly turn it into a major for a moment and then resolve it back into minor. And it's like there's a moment of hope that's like, but the hope is actually like in this sadness. Oh, wow. That was such a cool shift.
From its watery grave.
Can't you hear it? Sepulchral tone. We are a call. Hey, heed to the call and turn yourselves toward home.
Oh, wow. There's so much that's happening in there that's like just delightful. I always feel like VoicePlay is essentially ear candy for me. It's like, oh, that cool thing, that cool thing, that cool thing, that cool thing. I'm just loving it, the way the high voices sound together in this upper end. I I feel like Ellie's been one of the members that has just continually surprised me. He has so many different kinds of timbres he can go into, and more recently, I've heard him using this like more rock timbre and has more drive, just more power. Uh, it sounds like he's like the front man of a metal band sometimes, the way he sings. And I really appreciate the way he is driving through with so much legato in his line. It's fantastic. And then when you start adding more voices in behind him and the way it lifts that even further, it's just really gorgeous.
Watery grave.
Can't you hear it? Sepulchral tone. We are a call. Hey, he to the skull and
The hey is great in there too.
sails toward home.
Oh, so that part right there, I think part of the reason I am loving it so much is because it stretches out. You know, they could have done this like in a couple of measures, and instead they've essentially doubled it, and they have more movement in the harmony, more elongation of the notes. And then you get like a lot more, there's some more doubling of the voices that's happening in there to create a thicker sound. And then you also have Lane just kind of go crazy with the percussion underneath it.
All and turn your sails toward home.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars.
The groove in here is amazing, right? The way it feels like the big beats are more spread apart. That also is leading to these guys, I think, singing these longer lines again, and all of them are doing it, where it feels like this is being wrenched up from their guts. I've heard them sing a lot of things where it's like more fun and you have like total, like lots of vocal acrobatics going. This one seems to have more of that like gut-wrenching support. I can hear a lot more power that's happening. It sounds like they're, it really fits the mood from the movie and the way that is such a sad scene in many ways. And this has like the grief of piracy and like the difficulties in it. Wow. A lot of times we think of sea shanties as like really happy things, and this feels like it has the labors and toils of a pirate in it. Additionally, I really love that this essentially got this swung back and forth sea shanties we often think of as being in a 6/8, or like at least a time signature that has an 8 at the bottom. So you have the feeling of like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but often we'll have something that's faster for that like happier sea shanty. The way that this is a slow one, and the way that Lane is filling it in with the beats too, it continues to give that feeling of ambiance and that feeling of dread and toil. I love the way it feels like overall they've put all of these parts together and it's become something bigger that is so respectful of what was in the movie and is also adding to it. Let's go back a little bit. Oh yeah, he had a really nice solo in here. Yeah.
Hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars.
I love the ho, oh, oh, where they're reiterating the vowel in there too.
Colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars. Never shall we die.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Love the light shift. I love the build that you can feel is about to come up here. And uh this was so cool that there was like a really cool like sound winding down that Lane did to move into this section. Okay. Okay, I just have to stop and say each time I hear these vocalizations like hey or ho, or I love the way that they're just adding random yells. This makes sense. Okay, let's watch more.
Never shall we die.
Ho, yo, ho,
The king and his men stole the queen from her bed, and bound her in her bed.
Oh, wow, what a great build-up. Just like, wow. I love the placement of the voices and the mix too. I think it's really, really fun, like to hear in the headphones how they've made them almost like swirling around. And the way that they started it off made me think that they would like just stack it, but instead of just stacking it, they stacked it and also had voices breaking away and swirling. It was like very, very exciting how many different ways they were adding to the sound. And then, oh man, Caesar did a brilliant job in there. And then you had Jeff like do like, I think it was an octave jump. Whoa. Oh, we're gonna go a little bit. No, one more. Back here. Yeah. Nice octaves again.
And his men stole the queen from her bed, and bound her in her bed.
I love the way he goes up to that top note there in full voice there. And I love also like that there's a certain airiness, like a fluffiness in his voice. And then when he goes up to the top, like you still hear that, but you hear just so much strength and passion.
Her bed, and bound her in her
I just had to let it run there. It's the energy build and the way they release it in this last section is incredible. It's one of those times when you can't stop. It starts rolling and tumbling, and there's so many great moments that I'm like, I want to talk about that and that and that, but I wanted to feel the way that they directed it and brought it together as a whole. It was just super incredible. Let's go back. Wow. Around here. Yeah.
The queen from her bed, and bound her in her bed.
So notice right there, that is another classic great way to set something up, right? We lost all of the vocal percussion there. And then you also had Jeff take that octave up. So we lost a lot of the lowers in the sound. So that prepared us for essentially a big drop, a re-entry of all the sound that is going to feel very, very complete and exciting. when those guys go up like that, it almost sounds like a gospel choir on the top end. This is just so much beautiful high voices up there. And I love the lighting effect that happens as well. Listen to the way they sound like a gospel choir. So this moment, part of the reason that it's so great is because they did this thing where they're elongating, because you could have just gone, never shall we die, but instead they're going, never shall, never shall, never shall. And we're like, yeah, tell me what you're never going to shall. It just, because they've elongated it there, it makes it hold that tension longer. So when you finally do get the release, it is again more satisfying. This is such a good arrangement. Ugh. Love the lighting. And love his characters. Killing it, Ellie.
Hoist the colors high.
Okay, we're gonna go back one more time. I love this last extended note from Ellie on the high end, and then it's so great to have the balance from Jeff on the low end, and then you've got all this stuff filled in the middle. I love it. I also just want to say the lighting in this video is incredible. The candles, the different times we've had flashes, different kinds of colors in the background too. Really, really neat. Oh, let's go back to the moment when he starts.
Hoist the colors high.
So good. They did it again. Just blew me away once again. I love, love, love what they've done with this piece. In the movie, it had that gravity to it that they definitely pulled from and then expanded on. Oh man, what an amazing ode to the original, but such an incredible usage of their various voices and talent. I loved hearing the three guys on top there, right, together, and the way that they supported each other, had a variety of sounds as well, a variety of characters. They really worked well. Sometimes I might think that's too much, to have so much glory on top, if you will, but they just sounded great. And then, of course, Jeff was holding down the bottom notes there very, very well. I know, I think I might have heard Lane he did do some singing too, some more baritone-y singing. And of course, all of the three top guys can sing down in a lower range as well. All of these guys have great ranges. And then I loved hearing the creativity in Lane's percussion and those really like wide beats. The tempo they chose for this, I think, was extremely appropriate and really, really worked. And the setting too, and the production, all of it was so good, guys. It was so delightful. Thank you so much to those of you who mentioned this one was amazing. I'd been saving it, and I'm so glad that I finally got to hear it today. Please do support VoicePlay. Subscribe to them on YouTube. They have an awesome Patreon, and definitely listen to their songs through all the way on their channel as well. And if you would like to subscribe to us here, definitely turn on that notification bell as well in case I do a song that you've recommended. You don't want to miss it, so the notification bell will help with that. I'm here every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Arizona time doing live premieres. And you can also find me on Patreon and at thecharismaticvoice.com. And happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you have a really great week. Thank you.